Every now and again, I come across something that reminds me of how much influence Kevin Samuels had on the black community and the red pill community. Um, but man, oh man, did this one right here? I was like, wow, dude, this is where they got this from. This is. I'm not like Kevin Samuels. This video isn't about Kevin Samuels, by the way. Way bigger than that. But I just initially come, like doing the research for this video, I was like, wow, dude, like he really brought, brought a lot of these talking points to a demographic of men who never had the language to articulate any of this stuff. And he gave them the language to do so, which is dangerous. Um, but this one right here, this is a pretty glaring example of that.
You went to
do,
college?
yeah, my degree. It's in social work.
Right. So you went to school. Do you have student loan debt?
Yes, I do.
So what you're telling me is you went to school to go into debt, to go to work, to when you find a husband, just say, now you pay all that debt. It was useless then. Why go to college and get into all that debt if you're not going to use it?
No, that's what I'm saying. I want to use my degree. So my plan is, of course, structured around family planning when I get ready to have a child, to just have money saved up so that I'm able to pay that debt off because
Pay that debt
I
off with
don't
whose
want to
money though?
with mine.
How? Ma'am, social work. You're not balling. You get married, get pregnant, you don't want to work anymore. There's no more money coming in from you. How you gonna pay off a debt?
What I was saying was I wanted to plan for a family.
Again, saving whose money?
Saving my money, Kevin.
How much are you making right now?
Right now, I make about $2,000 a month.
Lady, you're broke. That's $24,000 a year. You have to be living at home with mama or something. Okay, reality check time. You have no plan. And if you do have a plan, it's a bad one. How much is your student
I'm at
loan debt?
about 100K.
$100,000 in student loan debt to be a social worker? Ain't nobody gonna marry that.
I don't know if that woman was actually a social worker, by the way, but she just because social workers make more than $2,000 a month. like there, I can't think of any place that's hiring actual social workers and employing them as social workers, and they're making less than $50,000 a year minimum. But anyways, um, this is where that like men, black men specifically, but men, this idea, this notion that like degrees are dumb and you know women getting degrees is stupid and they're just getting all this loan debt, like they that is where that language came from. I just again just researching it, I came across this video and I wasn't even going to use it because I don't really like using Kevin Samuels videos because he's been dead and gone for so long. He's worm food. But I was like, wow, like this is, I've heard this so many times and I've seen this video. I just didn't connect the dot until right now. But this is where you dummies got that from. Even if you don't know where you got it from, this is where you got it from. You got it from this dummy, from this dead dummy who was saying a bunch of dumb shit. This was stupid then and it's even more dumb now. And I'm going to show you guys why. So men are running around here trying to shame women for having degrees, and they're saying that women have stupid degrees and dumb things and all of this stuff. Now, uneducated men, by the way, talking to and about educated people just seems like you're at a disadvantage right off the rip. You know, the men that are shaming these women, the vast majority of them are uneducated and undereducated themselves. So how would they know? They don't know. They don't know what the data says. They don't know. And also, I want to preface all of this by saying getting a degree is not just about making money, right? Though that is the primary function of it in our society. because we live in a capitalist society. That's not the only function of getting a degree, right? But listen to how these men are, or this man is trying to shame these women. Now, he's not saying this to these women's face, but I'm just saying, if you listen to him, he's trying to shame these women by saying that their degrees are useless.
Oh, hi, my name's Kayla. And
Hi.
And I use Galaxy, and my concentration is economic inequality in the U.S. and Caribbean.
Period.
My name is Naomi. I'm Black Galaxy, and my concentration is spiritual healing.
Spiritual healing.
Hi, my name is Eliel, and I concentrated in Black storytelling.
Hey, my name is Gabby. My concentration is called Exploring Colonialism and Sustainable
Oh my god, all these useless degrees.
I'm Alexia, and my concentration is creativity as communication, how the arts act as a language outside of verbal communication. Period.
Uh-huh. What an incredible group of up-and-coming scholars, guys. I'm sure they will contribute greatly to our society. Listen, there's obviously a place for the arts. I don't want to go too far in the, you have to do only STEM. No, there's a place for the arts. But these people, man, sounds like I want to enjoy absolutely none of the media that they would produce.
Now, aside from the obvious fact that this is a white man shaming Black women with degrees, let's put a pin in that and slide that to the side real quick. But there was a few things that he said, or the thing that stood out most to me, about what he said right now was, he's pushing the whole, you got to get a degree in STEM, right? STEM. That's going to matter right now when we get into this next video. But the women are the men are trying to shame women, saying that they were getting all these useless degrees and right? Well, answer me this, then why is this happening?
It's demoralizing for guys who really want to get ahead, and it's just not happening.
Young men are struggling to get jobs, even if they have a college degree.
It's like, wow, I can't even get a job as a busser.
I have 900 plus applications, and I have received nothing.
Men under 30 with bachelor's degrees have almost double the unemployment rate of young women with the same education level. According to data analyzed by NBC News, 6% of 23 to 30-year-old men with a bachelor's degree are unemployed. One reason for this?
Essentially, 100% of the labor force growth has been coming from the healthcare industry. And that industry is overwhelmingly female. While
it does look like women are the ones going into STEM. It would appear that the men are the ones getting the useless degrees, and the women are getting the degrees that can be put to use so that they can make money. Isn't that crazy? Like, everything men say about women is a fucking lie. Everything men say about women, it's like a study comes out to refute it. A study, like, there are some things that a study will never be able to prove or disprove, like, directly, right? This is one of those things where it's like a direct hit that, like, yeah, the thing you are saying is just false. The thing the way you guys are trying to make it seem like women are the ones that are getting dumb degrees is hilarious, when it would appear that men are the ones that are getting useless degrees, which I don't think that any degree is useless, right? But I'm just saying, if we're playing that game, if we're basing the degree on the amount of money it can produce, or the likelihood that that person is going to be employed, then it seems like women are getting degrees in those fields where the likelihood of them getting employed is significantly higher than the ones that the degrees that men are getting, right? So, men, you're wrong. You're lying. Men are wrong, and men are lying again on women, because it was never about women getting jobs and being employed. It was always about women competing with men. That's what this is about. It's about women competing with men. It's about men having to compete with better men. It's always been about that. So listen to what I'm saying. So the first part, you have women working, you have men working, you have women getting educated, men getting educated. The men are losing in their minds. This is how men are viewing this. They're losing jobs to women. There you go. They're losing jobs to women. That's what this is proving. Okay. In the men's minds. That's in the competition. Okay. Then you have women who are more educated than men, and they want an educated man, or they want a man who makes around the same amount of money as them. So now they're not only competing with women, they're competing with other men who make more money than them, who have a higher education than them. So they try to shame those women who have degrees by first telling them your degree is stupid. You got it in something dumb. So that the women will devalue their own degree. And then they're doing that so that women will devalue a man's degree. And then they shame the women for wanting a man who makes around the same amount of money as them. They try to like flip that and be on some like, nah, y'all want a man that make $100 million a year and da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? When we all know that that's not the truth. And then the women go, no. I mean, some women, this is what they want, I should say. They want the women to be like, no. I don't want that. I'm not a gold digger. Look, I'll settle for you. Mr. Blue Collar man that makes $45,000 a year, $60,000 a year or whatever it is, I'll settle for you. Yeah, no. It's not about the money, which it never was for the women.
At the same time, you've seen these traditionally male blue-collar jobs in manufacturing, transportation and warehousing, mining. Those have been down or flat.
And while a bachelor's degree is still valuable to women entering the workforce, it doesn't carry the same weight it once did for men. Data shows that young men with a bachelor's degree are actually slightly more likely to be unemployed than their peers who have just a high school diploma.
And I think what we're seeing more of is demand for credentialing of some kind that is aligned with the actual work rather than simply a college degree.
We are told that a college degree our whole life is a golden ticket to the American dream. So you graduate with this degree that's supposed to rocket you to a stable career, and you just fall flat on your face.
And beyond the economic implications, this shift can impact the mental and social health of young men too. In a Gallup poll published earlier this year, 25% of 15 to 34-year-old men reported feeling lonely, compared to just 18% of women their age.
Emotionally, it's a bit rough. You know, I want to get out there. I want to start my life. I want to be financially independent and maybe just feel a little bit successful, but it's tough.
Now, I thought men were suffering in silence. You guys aren't very silent about this. You're very loud about this. Men are not suffering in silence. Men are, mind you, men are the reason why men are suffering, but then they're also not suffering in silence. You would at least expect the people, like if you're causing your own harm, you would at least expect the motherfucker to shut the hell up. But no, men won't shut the hell up about it, right? Now, a reason why I think this is happening, another wrinkle in all of this, aside from the fact that men are getting useless degrees, I love that I get to say that right now, that men are getting all these useless degrees that they can't use and it doesn't help them getting more money. When that guy said, I have 80 applications out there, I think a lot of that, or 300 applications, whatever it was, I think a lot of that is because men, especially men who have degrees, are even more entitled than men who don't have degrees. And I don't think that they are willing to do work that is beneath whatever, they feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever they're feeling like, they're like their degree should get them. They're like, I don't want to take that job. That's beneath me. I'm not going to do that job. That's beneath me. Where I believe women are way more willing just to work. They're just like, I'm just going to work. Because women have been getting the short end of the stick with or without degrees since the inception of this country. Same thing with Black people, right? Like Black people are more willing compared to white people. We're more willing to take lower paying jobs because we've been taking lower paying jobs. Black people who are brilliant, Black people who could run the company are like, nah, you know what? I gotta work. So they take a role less traveled often. Same thing with women. The oppressed group can always make more out of less. Always. That's just the reality. And men have not been the oppressed group compared to women. And they don't know what to do. When you hand a man a lemon, they don't make lemonade. They go, what do you expect me to do with this? You didn't give me water. You didn't give me sugar. What am I supposed to do with this? Usually when you give me, what you give me is lemonade. You usually give me the lemonade, but how am I supposed to make the lemonade? Why do you, and then they go more than that. They go, why do you expect me to make the lemonade? Because of the entitlement. Also, I think that men aren't willing to go get extra credentials. Women are. Women are more willing to go get a master's. Women are more willing to get the training. Women just keep educating them, especially Black women. Women just keep getting degrees and educations, and they get, even if they get a useless degree, they go get another degree. They go, all right, that degree was useless. Let me go get another degree. Men go, I got a degree. Look, I got a degree. This is my golden ticket. The dude even said it in there. He said, we expected that this was supposed to provide us stability. You got sold a bill of goods by the capitalists. And here you are struggling. Look at that. Now, this is not me laughing in the faces of men, because this is a problem that capitalism has created amongst all groups of people, men, women, and everybody in between. The thing the problem that I have, though, is that instead of men punching up, they're going to start punching down, and they have been punching down. They're going to blame women. They're going to blame Black people. They're going to blame immigrants. They're not going to blame the men that are locking them out of these jobs. The men that have all the power in the world, that have sold their livelihoods away for pennies on the dollar, right? Took away all the factory jobs, took away all the manufacturing jobs, took away 60% of the blue collar work. The reason why there's not more electricians, because don't nobody buy houses no more. The reason why you can say there's a high need for plumbers. Why? Nobody owns, millennials don't own homes. Gen Z don't own homes. They won't even build any new homes. I'm in California. You know how hard it is to get new homes greenlit in LA County? Like, they won't build new homes. They won't build affordable housing. That's why. So, but you're going to blame women. You're going to say the women are competing and the women are taking our jobs, and that's why it's so easy to get men to be right wing, and to, you know what I'm saying? They're going to vote against women's best interests. They're going to take away women's ability to go to college. They're going to take away women's ability to vote soon, or they're going to try to. Hopefully they don't, but they're going to try to. They're trying to. And men are going to be silent about it because of shit like this, because they think that this is the fault of a woman, and they're not afraid to punch a woman proverbially, but they're afraid to punch a wealthy man. They're scared of a wealthy man, but they're not afraid to punch a woman, proverbially or literally. Men aren't afraid of women, and that's the problem. That's the problem. It's our own fault. Men did it to ourselves. We did this. Misogyny has come to bite you in the rear right now. You wanted to lock women out of all of these jobs. You let them sell off our jobs. You let them sell off our future so that Black people couldn't work, so that women couldn't work, so that immigrants couldn't work and make a living wage. You let them do all of that to spite us. That's why we are where we are right now. So I don't want to hear it. Cry me a motherfucking river. Cry me a fucking river, bro.